The first model of ChatGPT was not very good. I was a sophomore in high school. I tried to get it to do part of my homework for AP World History, these little charts, and it was so bad at them. It did the same answer for every empire, from the Mughals to the Safavids to the Qing dynasty. Fast forward now, and it can do basically anything you would expect an undergrad to do. If you are a student in 2025, you're either using AI or lying. Now, that usage can vary. So let me give you one more anecdote. I took a computer science class last semester. The class was pretty easy. I didn't really care about it. I'm an engineering major. I care about computer science like the way a dentist cares about the digestive system. It's tangentially related. I might have to think about it once or twice, but really in a class, I didn't care too much. And this class specifically was very, very easy. It took me 2 months in this class before I was even struggling with the concept. It's computer science, it's variables, it's math, everyone knows this. We hit our final project and it was very open-ended. They let us do basically anything, and I made a project, a game, but this game was much more complex than the project requirements, which were very bare bones, needed me to have. So I took some vibe coding liberties, and once I had coded the entirety of this game that would get me an A on the rubric, I added 1 or 2 features with AI, just to make the game a little more fun for me personally, and also because it's kind of embarrassing to have such a bare bones game product. Now, I think most people wouldn't have a problem with what I did, and I know I for sure didn't, and I knew my teachers wouldn't, because I knew I would be far from the worst offender, okay? I wrote bad code by hand. I'm sure if they looked through, they could tell a human touched this. But I know there's at least one person in that class who wrote their entire project. ChatGPT, make me an awesome prompt. And I say at least one. It's a little scary to think about how much of the class that might have been. But now I'm in a harder class, okay? Physics 2. I'm going to be real, it's bodying me. So on every homework, I have the question that I'm sure if you're a student, you've faced this question as well. When it's 9 p.m., the homework's due that night, I can either have AI explain to me the concepts, ask what I'm not getting right, check my work, or I can literally snipping tool, beep boop, the problem in, gives me an answer. Done. Now I, for legal reasons, will not comment specifically on what I do, but I think this core is the dilemma that students are facing everywhere, every level, is that you can either get AI to teach you to fish, or you can get the fish for your homework in 5 seconds, and it's easy. And here's the thing with AI, is that the way students use it is contributing massively to education gaps. AI is a phenomenal teacher, a phenomenal tutor. AI as a teacher rivals basically anything modern education has made. I'm not an AI bro, that sounds a little crazy, but just try it for yourself. Any topic, it'll match your level. Truly is a marvel in that way. However, as good of a teacher as AI is, it is also a phenomenal student. Right now, every young person has the choice as to whether they're going to use AI as the teacher or let it be the student. And I don't mean to blame young people in specific, because it's not easy to be a student. Let me give you an example. I was talking to a coworker. I work at the dining hall at my college. Now, my coworker was peeved because right before coming to work, his roommate had gotten on his case for using AI on his calc homework. And he claimed to me, I'm not going to make a judge on whether my coworker here is a A+ student. He claimed he did the quizzes, he did the worksheets perfectly by hand, and he knew how to do the calculus. He just had to go to work in 30 minutes. He said something that really stuck with me, even though he might not have thought so. He said that if he didn't have to work today, he of course wouldn't have done it. And I think that gets on a lot of the forced decision making that students have to go through when it comes to cheating and when it comes to, using their resources, as we could say. So when a student has the time because they don't have to work or because they don't have to take care of their siblings, or a myriad of other disadvantaged situations, they're at a disadvantage because their classmates have time to talk to their private tutor, whereas they can't. Whereas even if they love the extra benefits that learning with AI gives, they just can't do it. To a point, they just have to prioritize short-term getting the thing done rather than long-term building your knowledge, your growth in the area. I think this is a really cruel position to be in as a student. There's a lot of guilt, and obviously there should be, because it's academic dishonesty. But frankly, a lot of time people's hands are forced. Now, I'm sure this is a problem that's been experienced with different technologies, cheating as a whole, perhaps. And I'm sure it's nothing new in society for richer, more advantaged students to have more time to learn the material. But I can feel the starkness with AI because we talk about a K-shaped economy. It's a K-shaped learning economy. If you have the time to use AI, you're becoming a better student, better than you've ever been. And if you don't, you're using it to outsource your thinking because that's what you have to do to make ends meet, to make things work. Editing Toby here, just one quick aside. This is also why we can't just ban AI for students, because unlike other cheating technologies, techniques, there is actual true value here. And so internationally, it'd be just a massive handicap to take away such a potentially valuable tool. And also, it's just not practical to ban something like this. I'm not a teacher. I don't know exactly what the test scores look like, but I have heard a lot of worry about literacy rates among the youth, about math skills among the youth. And I think what's worse is that this is not in isolation. Every student is competing against each other. So even if you take the moral high ground that you will not use AI, your peers are going to. And you can't just have such a powerful tool available, very grossly under-moderated right now, I think in every level of education. You can't just ignore it. You have to do something. I think a lot of times, for a lot of students, the value of education isn't communicated very well. Emphasis is not placed on the student to have to prioritize their own learning, right? It's kind of almost a war between the student and the teacher. So for the student that truly wants to learn, AI is very valuable. But for the student who is in school because it's required until they're 16, they don't really know what they're doing with their life. The teacher is, of course, trying to get them to learn by homework, by test, right? These are all methods of learning or methods of proving we've learned. And the student right now can bypass those incredibly easily. I don't know what the solution is per se. As a student, all I can tell is that there's inequality forming in education, and there already was, obviously. I'm at a very, very nice college. Many people cannot afford to go to college. But as a student, I encourage you to recognize this dilemma. I'm not going to comment on how you personally need to use AI, but let me just tell you, if you're a student not using AI at all right now, let it teach you. Do something with it. I don't care if you use it to cheat or if you use it to make a podcast to learn about the mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell. Just do something. I don't want you to be at a disadvantage. And if you are unfortunately on the other end, being a student who is turning in fish they didn't catch, I don't have much to say to you. Good luck in the future. I'm sorry.